Meet Tom and Maria. Like a lot of new homeowners, they step out onto their back porch on the first warm day of March, only to be confronted by a sprawling, muddy, post-winter wasteland. They desperately want to host their new neighbors for a backyard barbecue this summer, but looking at this stretch of dead grass and tangled branches, they are completely overwhelmed. Their instinctual reaction is to grab the car keys, drive straight to the nearest hardware store, and impulse buy a trunk full of the brightest, most colorful flowers they can find. But before they start digging, we need to intercept that plan. A thriving July garden has to be engineered in March. Rushing into the dirt without a foolproof master plan is a trap. If you skip the prep work and plant blindly, you guarantee dead roots, wasted money, and a yard that will be completely unready for summer hosting. The first mandatory step requires leaving the wallet inside and physically assessing the winter damage. This means taking a walk through the yard to uncover any plants that were wrapped for the cold, inspecting stems for frost damage, raking out the compacted old mulch, and pulling up the early weeds before they drop seeds. Next comes the invisible chemical side of the cleanup. This animated diagram shows a simplified cross-section of soil paired with a sliding pH scale. When soil pushes into extreme acidity or alkalinity, it physically blocks plant roots from absorbing the nutrients around them. Determining this baseline pH tells you exactly what amendments your dirt needs to sustain new life. By testing the yard before buying a single seed, you ensure the soil acts as a healthy foundation, rather than dropping expensive, delicate flowers into effectively toxic dirt. With the ground prepped, Tom and Maria move indoors to the kitchen table to start mapping their environmental constraints, beginning with a sunlight audit. They need to sketch the yard and track exactly how many hours of direct sunlight each specific zone receives throughout the day, separating the full sun patches from the deep shade. If they decide to build a new garden bed from scratch, this map shows them exactly where the sun hits best. From there, they can hire a professional to cut away the existing turf and prep the blank slate. Once the sun is mapped, they have to consult the primary geographic rule for all American gardeners, the USDA Hardiness Zone. This map divides the country into color-coded temperature zones. It acts as a strict survival filter, telling you what will thrive in your climate. You take your specific zone number and find the corresponding numbers printed directly on the plant tag. Mapping the sunlight and strictly adhering to hardiness zones removes the guesswork. It turns a risky gamble at the garden center into a calculated, guaranteed investment. Equipped with the right plants, Tom and Maria head back outside to execute the proper planting order of operations. The golden rule of installation is simple: always work from large to small. You plant the heavy trees, bushes, and shrubs first. This establishes the permanent architecture and heavy sightlines of the yard before you drop delicate flowers into the remaining gaps. With the plants in the ground, the focus shifts to the perimeter of the house, where fresh mulch is applied as a final layer of armor against new weeds. But water is a house's worst enemy. This cross-section diagram shows exactly how to manage it. The mulch wedge must be actively graded and sloped downwards, forcing rainwater to run away from the foundation wall. To complete the perimeter defense, clear winter debris out of the gutters so heavy spring rains can flush smoothly through the downspouts. While the correct planting order builds a visual appeal of the garden, proper grading and drainage physically protect the homeowner's most valuable asset, the house itself. Over the next few weeks, the required maintenance is mild but crucial. They keep the new roots hydrated without drowning them and pull any stray weeds that break through the mulch. They also add a few final cosmetic touches, dropping in a bird bath and lining the freshly cut beds with solar path lights. A few months later, the results of that March labor arrive in full force. The property is lush, blooming, and entirely unrecognizable from the muddy patch they started with. Tom and Maria finally host their neighborhood barbecue. The initial anxiety of homeownership is entirely replaced by the enjoyment of a thriving outdoor space. Spring gardening requires patience. By planning the layout, respecting the hardiness zones, and installing plants systematically, you engineer a resilient ecosystem that protects your property and pays dividends all year long.